Hi everyone, this is one of those books that packs such an emotional punch, and it is this one here, The Coast by Eleanor Limprecht. So the story is set at the Coast Hospital in Little Bay in Sydney, and it begins with the protagonist, 9-year-old Alice, who arrives there as a leprosy patient. So before I started reading this book, I actually had to do some research because I had incorrectly assumed that leprosy no longer exists. And it does, but unlike back then, there is a treatment which is a 6-month course of antibiotics. But it gives you a real insight into the story that the author describes, in that, there were very, very limited treatment options available, and those that were available, well, they were more palliative than anything else. And it is really quite an unknown story of our history, that leprosy existed in Australia and how the patients were treated. And I think the beauty of this novel is the way the author describes the heartbreak and the challenges faced by these patients, because their treatment options were limited to none, and B, they were really stigmatized by society. And you can draw parallels with the pandemic that we have gone through. So that's a really interesting aspect of the storyline. The other really poignant and heartbreaking aspect of the story is the storyline involving the treatment of the First Nations people, and particularly the stolen generations. And I think it's the great skill of this author in the way she shines a light on a really unjust and shameful and heartbreaking aspect of our history, but also weaving it into a story full of emotion and love, and certainly compassion from certain people of the time. And it just it really, from the very first page, it draws you in, and it makes you so invested in the characters and what they're going through, and you wanting them to ultimately have the happy ending that they also desire. So it really, really is a beautifully told story. So you really get a glimpse as well into the Sydney of the past, the way she describes the cliffs and nature, and a really different world to the one we know now. This was post World War One, and it was a nascent Sydney. So it really gives us a picture of the past in a way that when we think of modern Sydney, we can't imagine. So there are so many levels to this book that just make it absolutely wonderful. So this one here, The Coast by Eleanor Limprecht, thoroughly recommend it. It was just a wonderful, wonderful read.